Hello, everybody. I'm Brad Parkinson, and welcome to the Planet Health Project. This is episode 13. I'm here with my partner in health and wellness, Mr. Shannon Brad. How are you, Shannon?
Hey, Brad. Really well. And you're looking super fantastically healthy.
Thank you.
How are you today?
You're looking well too. And today we're going to talk about dental amalgams, which are the mercury fillings that a lot of us have had, especially, I guess, if you're in your 40s, like yourself and I, and older, you may have had the experience of having these amalgam fillings. And the mercury in them is about 50% mercury, and there's silver, tin, and other metals in them too. But it's the mercury we're really worried about. And really what there's a bit of controversy whether or not it's problematic, even though dentists, when they're putting them in, they're covered up well and truly, and like a highly toxic substance. And then with teeth grinding and other issues, chewing gum and so forth, it can be problematic. And the level of mercury toxicity, or the main cause of mercury toxicity, is from these amalgams. So I think we'll just talk a bit about what they are, Shannon, if you can maybe elaborate a bit further, and their potential hazardous nature in human health. Would you like to just elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Sure. So we often get the patients coming to us and they've heard about this and they're curious to get them out, and they're wondering, well, if I get them out, how can I reduce the toxicity? So we'll try and cover that today. But as you said, it's really controversial, and the Dental Association is still saying they're safe. But interestingly, the World Health Organization back in 1991 came out with a claim that there actually there is some toxicity for humans. And that was back in 1991. And you can read a lot about it. But mercury, it is a toxic element. And if it's deteriorating, maybe you had them done 20 years ago and they're breaking off, or the acid from food is deteriorating them, then you're definitely going to be getting, even if it's a tiny bit of mercury, it doesn't matter. You're getting mercury, and mercury is toxic. So if we're going to get rid of it, I guess you may be probably experiencing some issues now. People, like our patients, come to us and they may be thinking, well, is my health condition a little bit associated with mercury? And that's why we want to try and reduce it.
And for those that are listening and may have some amalgams, what sort of signs and symptoms should they look out for? What could the issue of mercury toxicity be causing?
It's a tough one. The one that is always talked about is autism and all of that, but I'm not even going to go there because there's no way you can say clearly it's only mercury. So there are a lot of health conditions, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, etc. And you can't say purely it's mercury, but most definitely there is a level of toxicity, maybe other environmental chemicals and pesticides, etc. But if mercury is a component of that, then it is contributing to MS or chronic fatigue or behavioural problems or mental function,
or other autoimmune problems too. It's been associated.
Most definitely, yeah.
Other ones.
I guess we should touch on why, just the pure biochemical processes. It's because the toxic effect of the external substance is reducing our antioxidants, and then our levels of antioxidants are decreasing in our body. So we, like cigarette smoke, it's having a negative impact on the body. So the body has to repair more and use up more of the antioxidants. So that's how it's causing harm in the body.
So strong free radical damage, basically.
Yeah. And that is really the underlying treatment plan for if you're getting your amalgams out, if you're wondering how can I limit the damage, that's where a lot of the treatment focus revolves around, is increasing that ability to clear and protect and repair damage.
Okay. Is there any way of testing to find out how much mercury is in your system? I mean, I think I know, but for our viewers out there, you'd like to sort of maybe elaborate on any tests that could be done that might benefit the individual?
Yeah, you most definitely do, Brad, and I know that you use a lot of it with your patients. There's multiple types, as you know. I would go, my preference is a hair test, just purely because it's looking at an average over a 3-month or 4 or 5 month period of that hair. Plus it's showing other minerals, so beneficial minerals like selenium and molybdenum and zinc, etc. And it's really easy to use with kids.
Yep.
But you can also do a urine test. So you can collect your urine, and you can do it pre-chelation, so dental amalgam removal, and then you could do it post, and almost always in the post the mercury will be higher. Okay. You can also do blood as well, and you can do stool as well, so you can collect the stool and check out heavy metals. And it's not only mercury. If it was a blood test, it'd only be, well, you could just do mercury, but the stool and the urine is other heavy metals as well.
Okay. Well, look, that's the way we find out if we've got mercury toxicity. There's some of the signs and symptoms. Fatigue is often a big one that you see associated with it. And sometimes you can get bizarre mental symptoms like anxieties and so forth that sort of just come on randomly with a lot of these metal toxicities. And mercury is no different. So that's great, Shannon. Now, how do we get rid of it?
Oh, if it was only that easy. But well, today's, I'd love to give as much as possible, but we could be here for hours.
Yeah.
So we'll try and get the keys for the viewers. But diet and lifestyle is a really great place to start. We could talk about lifestyle, getting the foundation right of resting and recovering and eating really well. So multiple colored vegetables and high antioxidant vegetables. Talk about saunas, getting into the sauna and sweating a lot.
Yep.
Raw garlic is very good for detoxing mercury. Yeah, then you could go into high antioxidant foods. And I remember maybe 10 years ago, the superfood craze, and talking about spirulina or high antioxidant foods like acai. And there seems to be a new one still coming out now and again.
Yeah, some new high ORAC count.
Helps. Yeah, and being sure there's enough fiber in the bowel. And then we start thinking about, well, hold on, the patients will be quite varied because some may struggle with constipation or diarrhea. And if there's a sluggishness, then we need to focus more on the diet and lifestyle to keep that moving and getting rid of the waste. So increasing the fiber and binding agents in the stool. I'm sure I've missed a lot of them. Can you add some others there, Brad?
Yeah, no, look, I think that's critical to get the bowel working as far as wastes go, and get the microbiome sorted out, and getting your right fibers in there to make sure there's good prebiotics there. And then drawing fibers like perhaps like your psylliums and so forth. And then you've got your things like your clays that can be used as well, diatomaceous earth that can draw out things from the bowel as well. So yeah, I think that covers a lot of it. And then I guess the big focus for treatment is of course the liver as well, and being one of our main or the main detox organ. So perhaps you might be able to elaborate on how we could support the liver to best detoxify mercury.
Yeah, so we talked about the diet and lifestyle, the basics, and that's really the core for everyone. And detoxing anything, you've got to get the diet right. So then potentially where we come in, we can step it up a level with detoxing agents and herbs, specific herbs and specific binders, and really get a better chelation happening.
Mm-hmm.
So through the liver, our main components are those which are increasing binding and also glutathione production.
Yep.
So glutathione's the main antioxidant to detox and pull things out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
But things like N-acetylcysteine, we've got the herbs St. Mary's thistle, dandelion. If there's some constipation, then we could use other herbs like globe artichoke.
Mm-hmm.
We could get the lymphatics moving, poke root.
Yep.
We could also use detox green powders and speed up the binding there. Even just from the chemist, there's those spirulina and chlorella blends, which are great to put in the smoothie.
Yep.
Then we've got other things like alpha lipoic acid is a great one. There's some great formulations to use of bound like apple pectin, and it's quite exciting with natural binders that are starting to get formulated. Even activated charcoals, there's more specific ones that will really pull out the heavy metals. So we're not so using varied things.
Yeah, it seems to be an evolving area. I mean, a lot of the products that, or the product companies that we utilize with the high-end practitioner brands, they're coming out with specific fiber supplements, mainly because of the increase in interest in the prebiotics for the microbiome.
Oh, yes.
But they seem to have other benefits too. But then to flip that on its head, you sort of try and bring it back down around to diet. I mean, you mentioned pectin, which we get from apples, but then again, it's important to, if we're having foods to try and detox, we utilize foods that are organic as well, because something like an apple from the store, if you're going, I'll increase my pectin, I'll eat more apples, well, you could be putting a lot of glyphosate in your system and other nasty chemicals, especially the apples here in Australia. Whereas if you get the organic ones, you've got the nice thick skins, you're free from all the toxins, and they can really be beneficial. And it's the same with your greens here too. I mean, greens are, your dark leafies and everything have many benefits and can help they're a good fiber source in the gut, and really get the microbiota, keep your microbiota happy, and you can get a lot of good minerals, and bringing those good minerals in helps draw out the bad minerals as well. Again, though, you do want to have them as organic foods and not sprayed with all the nasties all over them. So, okay, Shannon, that's great. Look, as always, there's plenty we can do as naturopaths, and we've really just touched on quite a few things. But I think that some of the key points here is, if people are getting the amalgams removed, that they get them done safely by an experienced dentist. Because that can vary. You hear a lot of horror stories, but it seems to have been really the whole process has improved over recent years, and we're lucky that a lot of more dentists are doing it and are on board with it, because they certainly weren't, a decade ago or so. So I think just doing that safely, and at the time when you're doing something like that, you can get on board with a naturopath and get some of these detox protocols in place, or just to support the liver, like you said, all the fibers and everything to chelate and draw out from the bowel these substances as well. So, do you want to wrap up with anything before we leave? Have anything else to say?
There's so much to share, and I'd love to, but we, as I said, we'd be here for hours. Yep. Lots of horror stories, as you say, with dentists as well. Common one is with the rubber dam is unfortunately, some dentists say, yeah, no problem, we'll do it safely. We'll put a rubber dam, but that's really too basic. And that's just to stop the large pieces going down. So if you are getting it done and the dentist says, don't worry, we'll use a rubber dam, it's not really
Perhaps
the most effective thing.
Explore that a little bit further and see if they're a bit savvy about when they talk about it, or if they sort of just brush over it, then you know you may want to be a bit more cautious with those dentists.
And also get onto the plan of looking after yourself before you get them removed. So best not to get them removed and then try and detox. Get the detox process happening and the antioxidants raised first, and then get the procedure done.
Yep.
And then continue it for several weeks.
Excellent.
Sorry, several months.
Several months, yeah. Yeah, look, and this is the thing, it does take time. And I think that's a good point to really stress with treatments, that our blood cells turn over in 120 days. So, you know, it's that 4 month to 6 month mark that we really want to working towards, rather than quick fixes that come and go in a few weeks. And unfortunately, the reality is, well, a lot of people do come in, think, oh, yeah, we can get some quick fixes, or they stick to something for a few weeks and then they sort of taper off. And I think that's where it's critical to have a practitioner on board, just to keep nudging you and making sure you're doing everything right, and you're keeping up with your supplements, and more importantly, your diet and lifestyle, and always bringing it back to diet and lifestyle. All right, Shannon. Well, that was excellent. Thank you so much for your insight on that. It's something I haven't looked into for a while. I had amalgams at one point, and did a lot of those things, but they still probably didn't do enough. But I'm not crazy yet, anyway. So some people might argue differently, but I think I've come out of it okay. And fortunately, having a nice herbal dispensary, just as there is in your background, in my at my disposal, it's something I always use constantly.
Certainly helpful.
Yeah. Especially on the liver, or if there's fatigue or anything like that. It's been great. Okay, fantastic, Shannon. Well, everybody, I hope you got something out of that. I certainly did. So yeah, if you've got amalgams, maybe look into getting them removed, but removed safely. And maybe hook up with a naturopath or a practitioner that can help support your liver, those detox pathways, and do it safely. All right, so that's episode 13 of Planet Health Project. And I'm Brad Parkinson. You can find me at bradparkinson.com.au. And Shannon, where can the folks at home find you?
Best place, head to Cura Medicine, CURA medicine.com.au.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. See you later.
See ya.